Sing Goddess, The Wrath of the Fonz, Smoke Pit Fairy Tales Part 2, Chapter 14, Song of Ilium. 2-7 had been pulled back to division. The coalition held most of the city except Ilium, that damned fortress. We were taken to the battalion's command post in care of the German army. We got debriefed before we got a chance to shower, shave, or eat. I told an interpreter, this time a Marine, about what happened since the garden. I told him everything I could remember, and he asked me every question 3 or 4 times. It got old quick. When we were finished, I smoked a cigarette outside the command post. Headquarters was almost at the beach. I thought, must be nice to be this far away from combat. When Doc De La Garza and Fonzie were done getting debriefed, we were taken to the battalion commander's office in a shredded-up apartment. Lieutenant Colonel Amemnon walked into his office. When he saw us standing at attention, he told us,
"Relax, gents."
We stood at parade rest.
"So you men have seen some shit this week?"
Yes, sir.
I was listening to the debrief, so I already know your stories. But are you all right? Do you need anything?
The Fonz said,
"We lost all of our gear and weapons, sir."
All of it?
Yes, sir. We're wearing everything we have.
Doc said. The colonel leaned back in his chair.
Well, that's some shit luck. Talk to the S4, get what they can give you. I don't know about a full issue, but they should be at least able to get you flags. Sergeant Palacios, you were an active platoon commander in Fox Company, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, in your absence, I gave the platoon back to Wilkinson.
Fonzie mean-mugged the lieutenant colonel.
Sir, that lieutenant will get Marines killed.
That's why he's going to have you as a platoon sergeant at least until we get combat replacements.
Sir?
We should be getting enough Marines to put us at TO in about a week. There's a few staff sergeants fresh out of the academy that I'm putting in place for the missing staff NCOs.
Fonzie's blood boiled. I thought he was going to jump over the desk and strangle the battalion commander.
You shameless fuck!
Excuse me?
How the fuck is anyone willing to follow your orders, garrison or in the field? When I got to Latvia, I didn't give a fuck one way or the other. They ain't never done nothing to me. There's too many rivers, oceans, and forests between Moscow and LA. I don't care about them. I came here for the Marines. I'm fighting for America. I'm not fighting to avenge Menelaus. I'm fighting for my junior Marines, my brothers. I'm fighting for you too, you dog-faced motherfucker. You're robbing me of my position for some boot staff sergeant that ain't set foot in Russia yet? You're taking my billet for keeping the Marines I could alive?
Sergeant, I'm not bowing down to you. You better stay in your fucking lane. The only reason I'm not going to take a strap away from you right the fuck now is because of your reputation around the battalion. Now shut your mouth and get out of my office.
Sir, I would rather be a fucking company clerk than fight under Wilkinson after you strip me of my billet.
Okay. And so you shall. Now all of you get out of my office.
We left and searched for Fox Company. Fonzie steamed.
That bitch-eyed motherfucker. He ain't ever out on the line. He doesn't go on raids with the motherfuckers who actually fight. That fuck.
I put my hands on the Fonz's shoulder. I'm sorry, man, that sucks. We found Fox Company. Fonzie reported to Lieutenant Toshi. The rest of us found 1st Platoon. There was a block of abandoned houses. De La Garza found his squad and Doc went to go find the medical officer. Eclair was standing outside smoking a cigarette, looking at the small river behind the neighborhood. Dude!
What the fuck?
He pulled me in for a hug. I spent some time in Folsom.
Yeah, we didn't know what happened.
Huh?
Well, that fucking A-10 sawed most of you guys up, and we saw Ivan carrying people away. But they weren't budging, and we weren't gonna call in Artie with Marines over there.
Yeah. You get a cigarette? Eclair handed me the pack. I took out a smoke and handed it back.
You keep it, man.
You sure?
Yeah, dude.
So, where are we? Are we off the line?
Kind of. We're just chilling out here until we get replacements.
Yeah, that's gonna suck. They aren't gonna know anything, and they're all gonna get whacked. I looked around the half-destroyed houses. Do we have an extra camera? Ivan took mine.
Yeah, somewhere. I'll dig it out for you.
Score.
So now that you've been to prison, are you only gonna listen to Johnny Cash and David Allen Coe?
No, I don't even know where my phone is. I think it's in my main pack or my sea bag.
Yeah, those are all in the back of a truck at Battalion.
That'll be fun to find. Eclair gave me a spare camera and helped me dig for my extra bags from the vehicle at Battalion. Luck would have it, they were in the back. It took an hour and a half to unload all the sea bags and packs, put mine aside, then reload them all. I didn't have anything much of value on them, just another fleece, my phone, a canteen, a couple pairs of socks and shirts. It didn't bother me too much. I had my ring, my lighter, and my tomahawk. The rest of the bags were packed with gear that everyone had, but no one used. I went to supply and got a new flak and Kevlar and beanie and gloves. They didn't have any more uniforms, so I was stuck wearing my sweaty blood and bug gut-stained Woodlands. I didn't have anyone to impress, though. I didn't care. My shirts were clean-ish. I went to the armory, and then there weren't any more M16s. I said, fuck it, I'll use an AKs anyway. A week later, I was sitting on a beach in front of a house, smoking a cigarette, writing a letter to Penelope. My letters to her stayed about the same. I didn't tell her about the fight or casualties, and definitely not being captured. I didn't want her to worry more than she already was. I just sent love, hugs, and kisses, and my longing for her, and a cold beer. She wouldn't understand my affection for gunpowder and CLP. The replacements had already trickled in. They were all at battalion awaiting assignment. I tried to write Penelope that we were actually staying in houses. I caught myself writing about the living conditions. I wrote about sleeping on the floor, trying not to freeze at night, even though it wasn't cold yet. I wrote about the holes in the walls from the firefight that had to have happened before we got there, the eating MREs that tasted like bricks, the pills we had to take that would probably lead to me calling a number I saw on TV because someone 20 years from now will say, "Were you a veteran of this war? Were you exposed to Medicine X? You may be entitled to money from the government's fuck-up." I lit the corner of the paper on fire and watched it burn. Then I wrote a longer letter of "I love you, be strong, don't name the kid something stupid," even though, if memory served right, he was due sometime next month. We hadn't gotten mail in a while. I had no idea what Penelope was up to. I looked over at Doc. He was dropping a deuce in a doorless wooden outhouse. The seat was positioned over a barrel of diesel fuel, and once a day someone had to burn all the shit, usually with a gas mask and a metal pole. It was a gruesome affair. Doc, don't you think it's fucked up that we're staying in houses and still have to shit outside?
Don't you think it's fucked up we're making eye contact while I'm squeezing out a turd? There's no electricity or plumbing here, man. What the fuck else do you think would happen?
I don't know. Doc lit a cigarette, and I gave him a judgmental look.
What, dude? Diesel doesn't burn like gas does.
I shook my head and returned to my letter.
Hey, Doc!
I heard First Sergeant DeLeon's voice call.
Yes, First Sergeant?
You really think it's safe? Put that goddamn cigarette out!
First Sergeant, diesel doesn't burn like that. It needs pressure to ignite.
I don't give a shit! Put it out!
Doc gave First Sergeant an unentertained look and smudged the cigarette on the plywood wall.
Good. I catch you doing that again, you'll be burning shitters for a month.
Aye, First Sergeant.
When DeLeon left, I pointed at Doc.
Shut up, Hank.
That night, Fox got replacements. Eclair, Doc, and I watched McMillan bark at the new Marines from the benches.
God, they look like they're fucking 12.
Most of them are straight out of SOI. They piled them up in 29 palms until there was enough of them to ship over.
Most of them are going home in boxes. I lit a cigarette.
That's a little grim.
Dude, we got a long fucking war ahead of us. Even if all we do is go to Moscow, think of how long it's taking us just to take one fucking city.
I guess.
And it's not even winter yet. We're gonna be fighting a ground war in Russia in the winter. You're all gonna die. Eclair winced at me.
You?
Huh?
Don't you mean we?
Oh, yeah. What did I say?
You said, you're all going to die. As if you think you're not.
Doc gave me a worried look.
Well, everyone's gotta die. I just hope I don't get frostbite on my dick.
McMillan broke the formation and the Marines went to their respective bivouac with their new squads. Doc raised his head, staring into the cluster.
Oh, fuck no!
What, dude?
Hey!
The Marines, all with scared looks on their faces like sheep that know they're in the slaughterhouse, stopped and looked at Doc.
Corman, get up here!
Two young sailors in Marine uniforms ran up to Doc and stuck themselves at parade rest.
I ate him too!
Doc scowled at them. I wondered why Doc was so mad, and then I saw their name tapes. Both of their blouses read Evans.
Oh, dude, that is fucked up.
You two fresh out of field med?
Yes, HM2.
Doc's cigarette hung from his lips.
What are your first names?
Wilson.
The first one said. Doc had a vexed look on his face.
And you?
Wilson.
God damn it! Okay.
Doc put his finger in the first corpsman's chest.
You're Doc Red and you're Doc Small. Because you're a skinny bitch. I don't care if you and your squad call you whatever they want. But if you motherfuckers start confusing me with your boot asses, there's going to be trouble. Got it?
Yes, HM2.
Alright. I'm Fox Company Senior Line Corpsman. We're short on Doc, so I've been hanging out with 1st Platoon. I want Red with 3rd Platoon. And Small, I want you with me in 1st. Let's go talk to Chief and put you where you need to be.
Doc took the other Doc Evanses to the medical area.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah. I lit another cigarette and turned towards the river behind the houses. The river wasn't wide. It was just technically big enough to be called one in the first place. We're gonna be here for a long time, man.
What makes you think that? You know, besides that we're making no headway.
They fortified the river. That's like a fucking moat around a castle. The battalion wouldn't have dug in like this unless they're expecting to stay here for a while. The river's full of barbed wire. The only way across is the bridge. I took a deep drag from the cigarette. I just hope that our command is smart enough to stay here through the winter.
Huh?
Because the Russians are probably going to withdraw when it gets cold, hoping that we'll chase them and won't have to fight us because everyone's just going to fucking freeze to death.
I wrote Jenny and told her to send me more socks. I wouldn't expect to get happy suits.
Yep, and MREs are going to fucking suck when it's negative 40 outside.
Ugh, yeah, we might as well eat the bricks.
We'd better just batten down the hatches when it starts to snow. I flicked my butt into the barbed wire river. The sun was setting over the ocean in the west. There were a few trees that hadn't been completely torn to shreds, but none were spared completely. I watched a snake climb one of the trees. I thought it was odd. I didn't know there were snakes this far north. I watched the serpent in the trunk slither over a branch. There was a bird's nest with 8 chicks chirping in it for their mother. The snake started eating them. When he had gobbled up the 8th chick, the mother bird came back screaming. The snake grabbed the mother bird by the wing and ate her too. As soon as he was done eating, he crawled down and disappeared into the stones below the tree. I lit another cigarette. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode? Chapter-chode? Thanks for tuning in to another chapter-chode of Smoke Pit Fairy Tales Part 2. Sing got us throughout the Fonz. What chapter are we on? We're on chapter 14. I've had all this shit done for a while, because, I record them. Well, I record them and then I put them out on, Patreon as I get done with them, and they're scheduled over here on the YouTube. And if you don't want to wait for me to read them all to you over here, you can go listen to them all on Patreon. Or you can use your Audible token on me, that'd be cool too. Just remember that once you get done to leave me a review, because that helps with the algorithm. You know how that works. But anyway, speaking of feeding peanuts to the elephant, I will hopefully be starting book 3 soon. Now, when I do that, they'll be coming out on Patreon first, and then hitting YouTube, Spotify, wherever the hell you're listening to this. Should be coming here, I think, in April by then, because I'm going to take March off from posting on YouTube and Spotify and all that, and I'll be using that month, A, as like a buffer period to, get some more time out, but B, to, have live streams with my voice actors. Kind of like I did between, books 1 and 2. But yeah, speaking of voice actors, I would like to thank this episode's. So we had Chuck LaVoki and Kat R, and Travis Wiedemann and Joseph Daisy Flowers, Eric Pickle, Jon Q, Haskell, hey, shout out Canucks, and then Matt Kupcikevicius, which I'm sure I'm still not pronouncing right, but hey, fuck it, right? Anyway, things are kind of exciting over here on this end, kind of, sorta, a little bit, because at the beginning of this month I had book 10? Book 10 was published, for those of you that are reading along. What was that Phantom in the Moonlight? And then next week? Is it next week? It's not next week. Shit, yeah, it's next week. There'll be an episode there'll be a chapter on YouTube between now and then, but next Friday, book 11 comes out, Order of the Caduceus, or Caduceus. I don't know how that word's actually pronounced. I say Caduceus. I don't think it's Caduceus. Or Caduceus. A lot of people in the Navy called it Caduceus. Well, Corpsman anyway. But yeah, that's been fun. I know I talked to you guys last week about help in trying to get the word out about it, and the word of mouth campaign's been great. Thank you guys for all talking about it, telling your friends, sharing on social media and the such. And then Task and Purpose, they interviewed me for an article. They said it was going to come out tomorrow, like 3 weeks ago. I'm sure that they're just taking their time getting it right, because they want every little I dotted and T crossed. So I'm excited for that to come out, sometime in the future when they get it done. I'm sure I'm not holding my breath for no reason. Anyway, thank you to all my Patreon people, and thank you to everyone who's gotten the War Chest, which is the first 6 of these books in a custom painted ammo can with some stickers and patch and cards and all that. I am going to be having a War Chest Part 2. I'm going to call it the Mark II. I know some of you wanted it to be Electric Boogaloo. It's not going to be Electric Boogaloo. Sorry, not sorry. But the War Chest Mark II will have books 7 through 12 in it, and if everything goes right, that should be in March. But I already got the patches made for it, so that's cool. Also, if this seems weird or you're wondering, why is that in there, man? Why that design specifically? So in the artwork for the books, it doesn't actually talk about it in the words anywhere, but in the artwork for the books, Hank usually has a patch similar to this on his patch jacket. So that's a little meta for you. It's kind of like a heart with an arrow through it, but it's also lips, smoking a cigarette and, since the virus have fangs. All right, that's enough gushing about that. Anyway, thank you all for being here, and I will talk to you next week. I'll talk to you next week. All right, here's your bloopers. Ciao. And microphone test. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I've never been so more upset than when I realized I wasn't recording after I did that whole fucking DeLeon script. So, let's try that again.
Lay down, puppy. Yeah, good girl.
Excuse me.
I gotta take off my boots. All right, there we go. Man, I was getting jabbed in the foot. What? Why can't I hear this? Why can't I hear this? Okay, are we good? Are we back? Why? What did I kick? What did I kick? There we go. Oh, into the neon blue. There we go. All right, we're good.
And again, I keep clicking the wrong fucking button.
Dog, please stop. I know, you're cute. But I gotta be cool. Okay, good girl. Good girl. This video is now an ASMR of me telling my dog, good girl.
There's no electricity or plumbing here, man. What the Faulkner?
Where the fuck was I at?
I fucking know I recorded this, but I'm gonna redo it. I have no idea where the fuck Chapter 14 went.
I looked over to Doc. He was dropping a deuce in the doorless window. Oh my god. Poop's funny. All right, where am I at? I looked over at Doc. He was dropping a deuce in a doorless wooden outhouse. Outhouses.
They piled them up in 29 palms until there was enough of them to ship. I'm just slurring everything tonight.
DeLeon, you really think that's safe? Put out that goddamn cigarette. Doc, First Sergeant Diesel doesn't burn like that. It needs pressure to ignite. First Sergeant, I don't give a shit. Put it out. Oh my god, I'm laughing because this happened in real life. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is almost a word for word something that actually happened. Oh man. Oh man, it was fucking funny too. I guess that's why I put it here. Situational comedy. Yeah, fucking deployment's fun. Actually, deployment's not fun, but you get it. You get a few stories out of it. Where are we at?